the path of the Buddha. How are you, everyone? We've had two very strong eclipses, and tomorrow is the 222 portal. So how are you feeling? It's been very intense, very intense indeed. I mean, I for sure have been feeling quite sickly since last Friday, and I've done 3 COVID tests and negative, and it's like a lot of energy, right? A lot of intense energy, and a lot of stuff might be coming up for you. So how are you feeling? And I saw yesterday a post where it said that a lot of us in the collective are going through these aches and pains or flu-like symptoms. So the journey is quite tough, and you might be also feeling your divine masculine's ascension and their waking up process as well. So it'd be quite tough for you. But for me, I've been feeling very sort of like almost sick, but not fully sick. I don't know what's going on. It's like eyes and head and pains, almost like a flu, but not there. So how have you been feeling? So the live today is called the Path of the Buddha. We are going to be focusing a lot on childhood wounds, and we're also going to be focusing a lot on 0 point from a spiritual and a scientific perspective, because a lot of you ask, what the hell is that? It's not talked about much, actually, and it's very pivotal and needed for the journey and for the ascension. I've been working on my twin flame book, nearly done with it, and it's just to fix a little bits of it. And I've got the new series, 1 year worth of content information done for the new series called New Earth, which will be starting in November onwards, from Bali, actually, because I'm going there. So that's going to be very interesting, because so far we've done the Twin Flame series from July 2023 to July 2024. So if you haven't watched that, you can watch it on TikTok and YouTube playlists. And then this series, which is the videos that I do, which has been less popular, I guess. In the beginning, it was very popular, I think, and it's gone less because people are more clued up or more obsessed with the Twin Flame, like posts I do every day. But this series has been about ascension. And the next series in the trilogy is about New Earth, because it was never about the divine masculine, was it? And you'd be like, oh my God, it was always. No, it's not actually. So in the Twin Flame series, we did all the information and healing about what is twin flames and, what are you going through? I sang for you. I did all sorts of really interesting posts. I talked about a lot of personal stuff. That was really good. And then the Ascension series went really detailed into Kundalini and Tantra and plant medicine and ascended masters and all sorts of things. And we're actually at the end of that. I think tomorrow it is going to be the last video for the Ascension series. And then I'm going to have a bunch of videos probably for a month that I've already filmed, which ties Twin Flame with Ascension together. So you understand what the hell all of that was about, because there's method to my madness. So hello everyone, thank you for joining. So before we get into the topic of the Path of the Buddha, how are you feeling? We've had 2 huge eclipses, and my ass definitely got whooped. I've been feeling a little ill since a week, and there's nothing, write in the comments. I've not been, I'm not actually like ill with anything, but I feel ill-ish, tired, sluggish, headache, whatever else. And I was feeling last live that you saw, I was feeling really angry and lots of pent up stuff coming up again about my twin flame, right? And all that he did. And thankfully that's gone. Thankfully I've healed that. I've got huge downloads actually, and a lot of motivation about going forwards, my new series, because the twin only mirrors things that are within you to help you. And I will go into detail. We're going to go in a lot about childhood stuff. We're going to go in a lot about 0 point. And we're also going to go a lot in detail about what the twin flame is actually doing for you. Because think of the analogy. So you are one soul and you split up and you come down as 2. And one of you reflects, well, you both reflect each other's triggers, but one of you is more of the lower chakra shadow aspects, and the other one's more of the spiritual inner aspects, right? So you're triggering each other, and usually the DM is the one who's taken the role to be the baddie, the naughty one, or the runner, basically. And it can be very confronting. And I've said before many times, the runner wants to see you in your divine energy, right? That's why they reject you, because when you're in your distortions, it doesn't feel good to them. It repels them. And also for you, you don't want them back when they're in their distortion either. So we'll talk all about those things. So it's a very beautiful, loving way in which the journey is constructed from the higher realms, even though in the 3D it does not seem that way. From the 5D, the runner, the DM, loves you so much. And when you meet your twin flame, if you've met them physically or online, you will feel so safe. You will feel so much peace and love and innocence that you can trust this person with your life. And we'll talk about some insects and animals in the animal kingdom and how they deal with things where they open themselves to be destroyed, to be killed. So we as twin flames open our egos to our twin flame to be destroyed. Okay, we get destroyed, we get annihilated, we get crucified, as do they. But that's because the love is so strong. You would not let any other person, no soulmate, no other individual, do any of this to you, right? But with the twin flame, it's from deep within your knowing. Even though you hate them, you want to kill them, you want to chop their head off, whatever you're going to do, chop their lower bits off sometimes. Whatever you're feeling, it is underneath that. There's an underlying knowing. There's an underlying feeling and love that says it's for the best of me. Now, if you're in a karmic situation, you won't have that. If you're in a karmic situation, you won't feel the ascension. You won't feel the love. You won't feel its flames, right? Twin flames, so the burning of the baptism of fire, the ego falling off. And underneath that, there's always love. So when the distortion goes, there's always love. And you'll see your DM change too, and you'll see them become more innocent. And I've talked about it, some people laugh about it, but in this Twin Flame series, I talked about it. Initially, they look demonic because they are, surrounded by archons. And we've talked about this in the Ascension series in detail, if you have not already seen those videos about what are archons, dark negative energies. And so they do look demonic and they do look very egotistical. And then when they start going through their ego degradation, which a lot of them have been this year, they look old. But then they get the glow that we got because we went through we didn't look demonic though, but we looked old because we weren't in our ego as such so much as them, but we were. But we looked old and haggard, and then we start looking good and positive and beautiful and youthful, as do they. So I haven't seen any comments yet so far, but how have the eclipses been for you? So they're the only person you can trust to actually do the job. And they do a great job, don't they? They know exactly what points to hit you. But you cannot hate your twin flame for too long. So last weekend when I did my live, I was like, resentful feelings were coming up again, right? But then they go, because there's always deeper layers of anger or resentment from ancestry or karma or whatever it is that's there. It's nothing to do with the twin flame, because the twin flame is you and they just play a role, okay? They're just playing a role like an actor on a stage, like a puppet. Now, when you listen to twin flame stuff, especially when you listen to perhaps stuff like mine and read my stuff, it's a lot. It's a lot because a lot of this stuff is very deep. It's not your unicorn and rainbow stuff you get elsewhere. And it might take a while for it to actually click. Now, it took me a while, maybe 1 or 2 years. I'm coming up to nearly 3 years now in October to actually understand what the bloody hell the DM goes through, what is going on. It took me a while. I had to keep reading it, hearing it, listening to it. And then I got it, right? And then I heard it from DM's mouth as well, other DMs and other people, the DM's mouth and all that. So it makes sense. So it doesn't matter if you're still grasping. Like in the beginning, I remember I didn't know what surrender, like how to do it, trust divine time, God, what is confusing, right? And then here I am talking about 0 point. Now 0 point has been talked about very rarely, mentioned slightly. Now if you haven't heard about it before, there's a live I did where I went real detail for an hour and a bit on, it's called Kingmaker, Queenmaker. So watch that. There's posts I've done, but that live is very good. So how are the eclipse whooped your ass? How are you feeling? How are you moving through it? They pulled things up, didn't they? So write in the comments about what they stirred up for you. And tomorrow is the 2-2 portal, and it's going to come also with its own cleansing and purifying and pressures. It will amplify your triggers, bring up childhood wounds to the surface, and bring out that resentment or anger maybe that you felt. So that's why we're going to go through all those today, so you're prepared. But within that intensity, within that chaos, you will have that transformation because you will always have that unconditional love. That's what we're going to sit in today. So just give you a few seconds to write whatever you want to write, but let's go straight into childhood wounds and the blueprints that they create, because all of this stuff that's being triggered out, it's all to do with childhood. Yes, there's a lot of ancestral stuff there and karmic stuff, but your parents are best place to trigger all those or implant all those stuff in you, and the bloodline, the DNA is getting it already there. So it's a lot of it's childhood, okay? So your family life is not random. And I will talk about that. I have talked about it before, and I will do some posts about it. And before we get into that fully, there's a question that comes up always about free will and divine will. I call it divine will, and your soul's will, and whether union will happen or not, and this and that and the other. And I am still very much an advocate for union, no problem. But the mind and the ego does not know what your soul has signed up for. Okay, so before you came down on earth, your soul would have had a contract, and its soul would have had like a design of what it wanted to achieve in this lifetime. And that is your destiny, that is your divine will, and that's all set in stone. Okay, the free will is a little bit of maneuverability that you have to get there. Okay, so for example, my soul contract would have said that Manny's going to be born in England, and I'm here, right? I couldn't really change that, or what the parents I've chosen, my twin flame, the story, and how it works out. But I can either delay it by avoiding it, by doubting stuff, or not doing my inner work, or I can actually accelerate. And I'll do a video. There's a really cool video with Bashar as channeled by Daryl Anker, where he talks about how by doing your inner work, for example, Bali retreat, plant medicine, which is it's an acceleration, a faster way of getting there, that helps you get on your soul will, your divine will, your soul contract faster. So I kind of now say that surrender everything, even what you think should happen, whether it's union or not, because the ego and the mind does not know what the soul and the higher self knows. And yeah, you might have seen it in the dreams, and in the future I have done all that, and I've seen it with the 5D and all the kids, and when I'm with my twin. But I surrender that too, because you want to be outside the mind. It's beyond the mind. Anyway, going back to the family, again, the soul contracted your family. It's not by random. If you felt unseen or not important or rejected, then that would have created a blueprint in your nervous system. But there's a reason for that. There is a reason for that, so that you can break free from that, okay? But it does rewire how you expect love to arrive and how you cope when it doesn't. So your reactions, whether you're avoidant or anxious as well, and all the other personality archetypes. You know, we've talked about the Patronus, Artella, the whole stuff to do with the Jungian philosophy as well, right? The boy who doesn't want to grow up, the girl who doesn't want to grow up. So that rewires your brain. And if your parents, for example, rejected you or abandoned you, because sometimes they do, right? You will unconsciously magnetize that mirror from your twin flame. Your twin flame will therefore reject you, abandon you, or go off with another person, because that's what your parents did, and that wounding is within you. And unfortunately, this is the only way we heal on this journey. They kind of put a pinpoint on the place where the pain is. So they do that so that you can heal it. They will show you the exact wound. So they will either go off with someone else, but not to punish you, but because that old pain needs to have light on it from your awareness to heal it. So there you go. All right. So ask yourself out aloud and breathe whilst you hear this. Do you have any intimacy blocks because of parental wounds? Are you ready for love? Truly, if it came this right now, knocking on your door, are you ready for it? Or are you, do you feel unsafe? Do you feel that love is dangerous? Do you feel like you're not worthy enough and you're going to be rejected? Is there insecurities? Where are you not truly loving yourself? So a lot of the time, things are smoke and mirrors. In the spiritual world, that happens, and also with twin flames. So what is smoke and mirrors? Smoke and mirrors means it's like a stage name. So on a stage, when they were trying to get like, either actors to come on and off, or like, cause a bit of drama, or they were having ghosts or whatever it is. It's like what they are showing, like keeping up appearances, what they're showing to the world. And a lot of twin flames do that too. The divine masculines certainly do it, but so do some divine feminines, where they're showing this image of I'm so amazing, I've got a huge ego, or I'm so well liked. It's a persona that is created from the ego as a protection mechanism in order to pretend that you are more than what you say you are, but you lack substance. Remember I did the live, the Lost Boys, and I talked about the boys that I met on the cruise ship, and I talked about the Divine Masculine. So it's basically, it's all talk and no action. It's all front, what you're showing, but nothing to back it up, nothing at the back. And Divine Feminines have that too when you're not doing your inner work, okay? And we're going to go into loads of different things today, such as addictions too. So there's no backing to it. The smoke feels good for a minute, you know? So when the DMs with, I don't know, on social media or with their friends, or they are basically, got another karmic, or even with you, when you are pretending like you are doing something, or some of you are having addictive patterns, or playing the victim, or whatever you're doing. And that might feel good for a moment. It's a high, but that doesn't last, right? So the key is to get into inner union, which we'll talk about: 0 point, equanimity, the middle path, because we're talking about the Buddha today. And that is not something that is just because you've had it, it's going to stay forever. It's something that you taste. And I've talked about this before. Enlightenment or liberation, nirvana, moksha, is something you taste. Even Buddha said this. But when you return back to other people, you might get the triggers again. And you have to regain and maintain. You have to practice the habit of staying in that place. Inner union is a daily practice. It's relentless. It's ugly work. So you have to do the work. You can't just bypass. And we know we have a lot of lazy divine feminines, right? There's a lot of hardworking ones, but I tend to hear from a lot of lazy ones. Lazy ones who want to blame and expect to be saved, right? But getting to 0 point is not a glamorous activity. It's a lot of hard work behind the scenes. A lot of hard work, you know. I still do my inner work, and it's daily. And it requires you to center yourself again and again and again. And you get good at it. You get better at it, and you get back on your feet again quicker. And when you get into union or you're weaving, you don't react, and you stay in that place of peace, because you start to identify, this is the other person's childhood traumas and wounds, and I'm reacting because of mine. And I need to just give myself that love and balance and center myself and not get rocked, you know. You get more and more into peace. And I've talked about it a lot. Twin flames have to be in a state of peace, a state of bliss. That's your state of inner union, okay? And I'll talk also about being the Jedi Knight and the veiled bride, which I've talked about many times before, which is in the public sphere. You don't want to be acting crazy or too outlandish, because you have a target on your back. People want to either sleep with you or they get triggered by you. So it's about being very low-key in public too. We'll talk about all those things. So you have to get back into your center over and over and over again until it becomes your norm, okay? So what is 0 point? That I go on about that maybe you don't know, which is fine. We'll talk about it. What does it mean spiritually and scientifically? So I've explained it before in the format of a seesaw, and I'll talk about it more later. But there's a seesaw, right? You've got positive and you've got negative, and that's the middle path, or 0 point. So I've talked about it in lives and before, and I've talked about the push and the pull, right? So for example, when you have we'll talk about politics first. You have the Republicans, and then you have the Democrats. You have the Conservatives, and you have the Labour. You have your, left, and you have your right. And neither are as good as each other. They can be both bad. They both can be venomous. Right now we have a lot of political stuff going on in the world, and that's why the New Earth series is going to be pivotal for us as twin flames and what we're trying to do here, because otherwise it can kind of boggle your mind. We have to observe everything and stay neutral. Now the saying is, isn't it, if I did a video once, like, if they go high, if they go low, we go high. That's the saying, right? No, if they go low, we go 0 point. We go rooted. We go grounded. Remember that video I did? That was really cool. So basically, everything has in the 3D world, everything is binary, right? It's duality. So for every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you have terrorism, then you'll have anti-terrorism movements. If you have, and Abraham Hicks talks about this too, and loads of other like Bashar talks about it too. Every movement has an equal and opposite movement. So you cannot protest against something, going to a protest, and not be in that energy and receive it back the same way. Some of you may be able to. If you can stay in 0 point and protest, very good. But you see with the stuff that's happened with Charlie Kirk right now. So there's a lot of people on on the left, who are supposed to be, Democrats, who are supposed to be liberal and loving, who are relishing in his death. And I'm not saying anything right or wrong, because from a higher perspective, everything just is, right? And it's the judgment we have to dissolve from duality to unity consciousness. So it's about not reacting and staying in your center. And this is what the Buddha talked about not going into extremes, because that's when you are going to be oscillating. That's when you're going to be going from left and right. And some of this stuff might be going over your head, but it's key to your union. So you better listen up. Right. So, and I'll talk more about this in a second. Right. What is 0 point? 0 point is being at peace. 0 point is being still. 0 point is being in the present. 0 point is being in the now. 0 point is not being in the mind. It's being in the heart. It's being in the soul. They talk about this, right? Get out the mind, get in the soul. What the hell does that mean? It means where you're no longer we're operating from the chitter-chatter of the mind. You're observing, you're not reacting. You're not judging, you're just being in a place of stillness, a peace. And that's when you're not reacting to things, right? And with your DM, they have to get to that point too, but they mirror you. So you got to get to 0 point first, and then they get into 0 point. As soon as you start bringing up the past and the future and this and that and the other, it's in the realm of the mind. It's too much. They don't feel safe. They're out of here. You've got to stay in that place of pure potentiality where timelines collapse, where there is nothingness and everything all at once. That is where union happens. Some people call it the eye of the needle, whatever you want to call it. Bashar talks about that. Whatever you want to call it whatever you want. But that's where you have to be for union. No one really talks about it as much as they should. Okay. So it's a place where you're not pulled into extremes. You're not into left and right. You're not into good and bad. You're in neutral. You're in zero. You're in the center point, like a seesaw, okay? So twin flames is a seesaw, divine masculine, divine feminine, and you can be too lopsided. You have to meet in the middle. You have to meet in the middle. There's no other option. Then no judgment, no pushing, no pulling, nowness. And in that 0 pointness, you are whole, you are complete, you have the whole universe with you. Then you don't care if they are coming in and out. You don't care whether they're with you or not, because you are in a place of peace. You're in a place of wholeness, and you understand they have their own childhood wounds, they have their own triggers, and they need time to get to their 0 point and come back to you. And in that place also, you're not necessarily worried. I'm getting old. I need to get pregnant. I need to have a kid, because it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Everything is ridiculous and stupid and laughable. Yes, the 3D world is here, but how many lifetimes have you lived? Millions, billions, right? You've been in union so many times in your life. You've had children. If you can see past lives like I can, I've been with my twin flame many times. In Mintaka, in Atlantis, in ancient Egypt, we've had kids all the time, right? We've had kids, we've done it. So this lifetime is the lifetime to kick some ass. This lifetime is to ascend. We're at the age of Aquarius. We're here to help the planet to get into 5D, into New Earth, hence the New Earth series. So it's not here to, be playing soulmate relationships and singing around. And if this does not resonate for you, you're probably not a twin flame. Because twin flames are actually here for mission, and they don't really care about too much of the 3D life. In the beginning, maybe in the first couple of months, you might be like, first year or so, I want to get pregnant, I want to have a baby, I want to have Z now, all that stuff. Then get a soulmate. But after that, you actually get it. The universe bangs you in the head and says, you're not here to be skipping around with your divine masculine, having ice cream and chocolate. You're here to do some work on the planet. Because you've had many lifetimes where you've already done that. And in the non-physical, you're already in union. So the love is always there. You're one soul. There's no missing. So that's where 0 point is. And scientifically, sorry for being a little bit harsh, but it is what it is. Scientifically, it is the 0 point energy is the lowest possible energy in the quantum system. So it's not reactionary. And it's like what people sometimes say is the void or nothingness, but actually it's not nothingness, because within the void and the nothingness is everything, is everythingness. Okay, it's fertile. It is pregnant with potential. It's infinite possibilities. Okay, and stillness. So let's go back to childhood stuff. Let's go back to addictive behaviors. Let's go back to the mind. And let's talk about a black hole, which is pretending. So the masks we wear, the masks all of us wear, when you are not being your authentic self. Now, I keep seeing videos on TikTok and Instagram that keep saying over and over again that authenticity is the highest vibration. Okay? Now, when you're not being authentic, you are in a void. You're creating a void. You're creating a black hole. So if you are with someone you don't love, you're with a karmic, you have addictive patterns, you are not living your purpose, you are playing small, blah, 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 blah. All those things creates a void. Now that void that's created has an equal and opposite reaction. It needs a fix. The emptiness needs something to be filled into it because you're oscillating in that realm. And the fix can be drugs, can be alcohol, can be attention seeking, can be sex, can be work, can be shopping, can be anything. Anything. The spiritual world can be a fix too. Addictive patterns can be a plaster or a band-aid. They mask the ache of not being held, not being seen, not being chosen. That's why your inner work is so important. The inner child work is pivotal. So if you needle yourself with outside relief and outside fixes, your twin flame will do the same. You know, if you go outside doing stuff, they'll go out. And they might not do it in the same way. They may go off and do different things, but they will surely be mirroring all that stuff to pee you off. They will find validation outside and you will watch the mirror and it will be painful. And that mirror is not intended to shame you. It's not personal. It's never personal. It's just data. It's just information for you to put light onto where that wound is to integrate it. Okay? Dissect that behavior. Be very discerning. What is this bringing up for me? Why am I so pissed off? Because you'll get to a point, and I guarantee you this, when you can look at your twin flame and not get reactions, not get reacted. You won't get triggered. You will see them as a normal person. Yes, the energy will be there and the feeling will be great, but you look at them and think, oh, what was I making all that big fuss about? And they are like how everyone else sees them, you know, how I would see your twin flame. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But when you're with your own twin flame, it brings up a lot of stuff until you heal all of that. The mirror is not intended to hurt you, but it's intended to help you. So ask yourself where you crave attention like a small child, you know, and where is it that you didn't get it? Where did that inner child version of you did not get that attention that you seek outside? And pour it in. Pour in that love. Spend an hour in the morning, hour in the evening, go within, do the inner work, love your inner child. Empty out yourself from all those strategies and patterns and addictions you have by going within. Do your inner work so you don't need that fixing. Now, I've talked about it, and I'm going to say it again about, and welcome everyone, is the Jedi Knight and the Veiled Bride. Yeah, and why it matters when we go out in the public to be covered up. And remember I did that live where I was wearing my hoodie and I was sitting in the back and I had shawl on and you thought I was crazy. It was done for a point. Do you remember that? So basically, hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, I'll do questions later. So basically, I've said it before, twin flames, we must move like a Jedi Knight or a veiled bride when we're out in public because we have targets on our back. And if we are too out there and too seeking attention, validation, the universe will whoop our ass, okay? And people will either want to sleep with you or they get triggered by you. So you have to be very careful. It's very important to be like an observer. Observe everyone. Your third eye will open and you will see everyone's distortion and toxicity. It's like a clown show. It's like a horror show in the world, okay? And you will get a lot of a treatment, you know. I'm very low-key in public. I'll tell you, I am very, very, very low-key in public. I keep my head down all the time. But I went to the dentist the other day and the men, the women opening doors, doing this, like you're a celebrity, but still keep low-key because it gets more and more. As you ascend, it gets ridiculous. You have to be very careful. You'll have married people trying to like be with you and stuff. It gets really too much. So it's very important to be in that Jedi veiled bride mindset. Because those things that happen that people are doing, they will can affect you, but you will learn from them. So if you are loud because you want attention in public, ask yourself why. Where is that inner child of yours looking for that it didn't get? Why are you flaunting yourself about in public? In the public sphere, in this public arena? Is that what the true, innocent, pure, divine version of yourself as a child is, right? Usually not, because it's starved of attention. You need to give yourself the attention. Because otherwise what happens is you start doing those Mickey Mouse activities in the public sphere and you will get ego deaths, and then you might have strategies that bounce off of that, such as addictive patterns and behaviors and all sorts, and it's just a slippery slide. Anyway, so ask yourself, what is that inner child asking for? Maybe be quiet, observe, don't react. When you go out in the world, you don't need to hide, but you need to be mindful, okay? So cultivate stillness so others cannot easily vampire your energy or pull you into things, because it will get like that, I promise you. So let's look at the divine masculine and their patterns and how we stay in observation with them, because they will be mirroring all those things too. Wonderful. So often the masculines, but even the feminines do this, okay? They will perform in outlandish, outwardly ways that is not true to their inner being. It's not true to their true interior. And that creates a hole, a black hole of longing, of wanting to fill in a void, the desperation. And that all comes from parental wounds of not being enough, the wound of not being chosen, and that's what your twin flame will mirror. And when they weave in and out, stay in observer status, which is your 0 point. Don't react. Remember that this is a tool for your ascension. They're just mirroring things. I know it's easier said than done, but you practice and you get better at it, okay? See their childishness. See your own childishness. See the fearful behavior, the traumas, the distortions. See the projection with your third eye without reacting. Very important as a twin flame, especially as a divine feminine, because we are more spiritually aware, to become like psychologists or like secret investigators to understand patterns of behavior and why people behave the way they do. Very important. So that will stabilize your field and get you into 0 point. We have to become the divine mother, right? We talked about this before, the divine mother, divine sister, divine wife. Not only for yourself, but for others too. And let's explain. So when your inner child is screaming for attention, when you're wanting to go out or do this or do that or whatever you're doing, addictions, whatever it is, you need to give the care that you never received. That's why the inner child work is so important. So be the divine mother to yourself. Hold yourself, nurture yourself, and feed yourself what it needs, that it's looking for outside, the love, okay? Give yourself all that worth. And when you observe others, such as your twin flame or other people, again, be the divine mother. So be compassionate, but watch with stillness. See their fears and realize it's just a reaction to what they never received themselves as children. That's all they're doing. Your DM's doing that too, whatever they never received. And I talked about this before. When you meet as twin flames and you get activated, you go back in time. You start back from birth and you start playing out all your childhood traumas. And twin flames go through stages. The baby, the toddler, the teenager, and then they become adults. So they live all that. And your twin will do that too, very egotistically. Because it's the wounds that are coming up, unfortunately, the wounds. Well, fortunately, because it's good to get them out, right? Isn't it? So stay rooted, stay balanced, stay grounded. And your twin flame is the perfect person for you, and they're the exact wound carrier by design. They're the only person in the world who will have the exact same wound as you, and with precision they'll be able to get to it. With a soulmate or a karmic, it doesn't bother you as much. With a twin flame, it burns, and that's how you heal it. That is why they can break all your parental patterns, and you can break theirs. So on meeting, both of your pain bodies are activated, and lifetimes of fear is released. That's why we act all crazy and insane and don't know what we're doing. So the divine feminine starts being all in the chasing energy and fear energy, trying to grasp onto the divine masculine because you're unable to deal with all the amount of energy being released and the fear and the horrors. And the divine masculine cannot deal with being close to you because you're pouring onto them and they're afraid, so they project and they run. And that's how it works until you center yourself. And it happens naturally, but you speed it up with inner work and things like plant medicine, okay? So all that stuff is activated. They act out and run. They reject and abandon you, which feels identical to how you were treated as a child. They may choose someone else because you felt unchosen as a child. I'll do questions in a second. In the 3D, it looks cruel. In the 5D, it's actually just love, unconditional love. They push you so you can sit in the wound, feel it, and let it go. You will love them. Eventually, you'll forgive them. And the forgiveness will dissolve the wound because it's the love that heals. How beautiful. And you must do your inner work every day. So, giving you a lot of information there. A lot. You might have to watch this live a few times. Breathe in and feel it. Take a long, deep breath and, sit with that pain. Don't be defined by it. Allow it to integrate and release it with love. Okay? So let's talk about Buddha, the story of Buddha, and why the middle path is important to twin flames. Also, 0 point, which is like middle path. So Buddha's path is important because it's a direct link to what we're doing as twin flames. So Siddhartha the Buddha was a prince and he was very rich, comfort and luxury, and he left all that behind to go and seek enlightenment, right? He saw a lot of suffering, he didn't understand it. And initially he went to extremes. Initially he went to severe asceticism, which is no food and, like punishing the body and all the different things, trials and tribulations he went through before he got enlightened. And then he realized he starved himself, right? And denied everything, extreme deprivation. And that failed. So either being in luxury or either being in denial fails. You have to be in the middle, the 0 point. So then he found the middle path. And that's not just avoiding or being soft, it's balance, it's presence. And like I talked about earlier, people say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, or silence is violence, or go and do protests, or be Republican, be Democratic, be this, be that, be anti-cancer, for cancer, anti-terrorism, for terrorism, binary, duality. Get into unity and it collapses all that, because if you have a strong stance for something, someone will have a strong counter stance for something else. And the reason for the strong stance is always due to some trauma, childhood issues, or something like that. When you don't care, when you're in a balanced place, you don't have those reactions coming from others. All right. So, going back to the middle path, it's the discipline of not collapsing into craving or aversion. So craving is wanting the addictive stuff, and aversion is, I don't want it, I hate it, I don't like it. Okay? So that's what the DM is doing, or you're doing. So he taught the Noble Eightfold Path as a practical way out of extremes. And that's the work we're doing with our twin flame. We're not choosing avoidance. We're not choosing indulgence. We're choosing centeredness, equanimity, peace, balance. To feel everything, the full force of it, but in a state of peace and balance. So let's do a little bit of science about balance and how the brain works and the nervous system and neuroplasticity. It's very important to understand so that we know how the divine masculine will feel safe around us. Because if we are in chaotic, crazy energy, they will not be able to sit with us or be with us, because twin flames can only be in union once you're in peace. And you may think that's boring, but it's not. It's beautiful. Right. So the body remembers everything that it goes through. It keeps score, okay? So this is not just all mumbo-jumbo poetry and metaphors. It's true. So neuroplasticity shows that your brain can change and rewire any wounds such as attachment and how your nervous system responds. It can do that with practice. And that's why when we keep doing 0 point, 0 point, 0 point, 0 point, 0 point, 0 point, we will change the structure in the way the neurons work. With intentional work, you can reframe and rewire old loops, and your nervous system can also be regulated to be balanced with breath work, somatic work, plant medicine, inner child, etc., etc. You can literally change the psychology, physiology, everything, okay? And you can, Pythagorean theory talks about the framework for how safety and threat, they are neurophysical states, and you can regulate that to bring presence, okay? So there's a biological, scientific reasoning for all of this that gives it the truth, which is maybe a divine masculine would want to know about that because they are all logical and scientific. So you can do a lot of research about that, okay? Neuroplasticity and nervous system regulation for those divine masculines watching, okay? So you're literally retraining your biology to get into a balanced state, a peaceful state, a state of safety, essentially, where you are no longer in flight or fight. Right. So let's talk. This is a really good example. Listen to this. It's so amazing because I've been talking about it, but I never knew the name of the insect, and I know it now. So I love it. Okay. So in biology, so in the natural world, there's something called sexual cannibalism. All right. I've seen it on the TV somewhere a long time ago. So some species, like praying mantises or certain spiders, they do this, right? The male is consumed or eaten after mating, and that consumption increases the reproductive success of the female. So the female and the male have, sex, and then the female eats the male. So interesting. Let me talk more about it, okay? It looks brutal, but in biology, it's about transformation and continuation. So what is it to do with twin flames? So with twin flames relationship, it's kind of similar. No, you're not going to eat the divine masculine. You may want to. Okay, but you allow your ego to die. The way I see this analogy, I think it's so beautiful. So you feel so much love for each other, and you feel so safe and so protected, right? When you first meet in the bubble phase, that you are willing to sacrifice and give yourself and die for this love, right? It's your ego that dies. Obviously, you don't die. Well, we hope you don't die. It's your ego that dies. So you trust this person with everything. You're willing to give it all. Well, some of you are, some of you not doing your work, but essentially that's what's happening. That's what's happening. The love is so pure that you trust it to kill your ego. And that's what's happening. Your ego's dying, okay? So you allow your small self to be eaten so the larger field of consciousness can emerge from you. Your ego dies in the safe container with your twin because you feel safe with them and you are surrendering. Even though you hate them at times, there is that love there always. So you're not doing literal cannibalism, you're not eating them or bits and parts and bobs of them, but you are actually surrendering yourself, your mind, your ego to the soul, okay? So what kind of practical things can you do? So I've talked about inner child, and I've done videos about that. I've talked about plant medicine. We have the retreat in Bali. Iboga is really good as well. Lots of different things, but you can also do breath work. Very, very, very good for you. Somatic excavation daily. So not just talking about your feelings, but tracking it in your body. Where is it feeling? Like, I remember once when I used to be driving my car many years ago, every time after lunch, I'd feel depressed and I feel this sinking feeling in my stomach. And I was like, And I sat with it and it told me that I felt unworthy and I ate to fill a void, eating to fill a void. So be aware of that, sit with that and allow it to heal. Breathe through the body and the sensations. Have micro presence, in your body. See where you are feeling restless or not balanced, okay? Number 5, let's go on to the next one. Have I done this one? Divine Mother. Yes, I talked about all that stuff. Right. So you can do behavioral checks on a weekly basis. Look where you're acting out, looking for validation, where you're doing things externally to fill a void, and then go within and understand it. Is it coming from my mother wound, my father wound, and how can I give it to myself? And you might have to do the process and go through it. And if you have addictions or if you have patterns of behavior that are not conducive to your divine self, you might still play them out, but consciously, at least you're aware of it. Putting the light on it and being aware of it helps you to heal it faster. All right, and that's why it's really useful to have a coach actually, or someone like me, because sometimes we can't see our own issues. Another person can see them better. And then you can have a controlled exposure, so you can create safe environments where you allow your triggers to come up and you let them happen. I always say triggers are your best friend. Like, don't stop yourself from doing anything. If you're going to date someone, date it. If you want to see your social media of your twin, see it. Eventually, you will not get affected. And do your nervous system hygiene, right? So basically, just make sure that your body is healthy. So your twin pushes you out of your comfort zone. Oh dear. They're meant to, okay? They're here to poke you and prod you and color outside the neat lines and mess up your life a little bit, your perfect little divine feminine, pretty little angelic life. They're here to slap that around a little bit. Not physically, okay? We don't do violence here. But they're here to kind of take you out or break you out of the restrictive patterns, because that's where all the trauma is stuck and that's where your programming and your conditioning and your judgment and all that distortion is boxed in. They break the box and you break their box too. So the role is liberation, okay? To see the truth of the soul. They will push your edges, push you into edges where you have to choose presence over the panic. Are you strong enough? Yes, you are. That is how the wound is transmuted. Out of the comfort zone and out of the coasting. Burn you alive into your divinity. So how do you be in 0 point with them in a relationship? So it's not about not having any feelings. It's not about running away. So I remember, like I've mentioned before, get busy, right? And live your life and do your purpose. But there is a caveat to that. If you are getting busy for the sake of it and you're trying to run away from yourself, then no. But if you naturally have done your inner work and you feel inspired to help people and you want to get busy in that way, then yes, that's when you get busy. But don't do the DM thing of pretending and running away and doing other things when the stuff is still unresolved. Don't do the smoke and mirrors where you've got everything at the front and nothing at the back. Do that first. So 0 point in a relationship is not just not having any feelings or being absent. It's about being fully present. Okay, you no longer need the twin to validate you. You open to them to come in, to come out. You don't need them though. You are already complete. When you live there, your desires for anything just disappear, really. Like even having a family or children or having them sit next to you, or expectations for them to buy you this or chocolates or flowers. You don't need it. You're okay. You give it to yourself. It's fine. You already have it all. This lifetime is for you to ascend, to embody unity and collapse that duality programming, okay? Because yes, you've had many lifetimes where you've had babies with them and families, and you're probably bored of it, actually, if you really looked into your soul history. So how do we take all of this? So the real twin flames in union are peaceful, very peaceful. And a lot of people say to me when they watch my videos, oh man, I feel so much peace. I don't know if you feel peace right now because I'm a bit hyped up, but generally a lot of people feel very peaceful in my videos because that's the state you gotta get to. That's what I teach. That's why I sit on the floor and it looks like I'm meditating, because it's to reinforce. It's not that I don't have a chair. Okay, so if you are chaotic and you are all over the place, your divine masculine will not feel safe. They will not feel safe to be vulnerable and open and relaxed around you. Their nervous system needs safety, as do yours, to be open. So if you want your masculine to come in and stay or whatever, weave in and out, you have to regulate your field. You've got to feel safe inside yourself, your inner child. So get your life together in the sense of your nervous system, and that's what magnetizes them back. Okay, so reframing from victim to alchemist. You get to choose this, how you see this journey, how you see the divine masculine, how you see the mirror. If you see him as a monster or you see him as a gift. And they do too. If you stay a victim and keep recycling that old pattern in hatred and bitterness, and we've all been there, then that will keep you stuck. But if you use it as a tool for an alchemist to turn into gold, that will serve you. Bashar talks about this. Everything in life is meaningless. It's the meaning you attach. Put the meaning that serves you and use it that way and ride the waves, okay? So any of the betrayal, the abandonment, and all that kind of stuff, you can use that as your fuel. Your pain is the fuel for your embodiment, for your teaching and showing the world in a different way. All right. So what I want you to do now is close your eyes and just go into your heart space and breathe. Breathe for a few seconds. And if there's any sensations that are coming from this, maybe you hate me right now because you're like, I don't like what's coming out of his mouth. I want unicorns and rainbows. I want to be saved. Maybe. Or maybe you're like, wow, I love this. It's really helping me to understand not to be a victim. Name that. How is it going on for you? You can write it in the chat as well. Return to your center. Let go of what's not yours. Come back into your safety. Bring it all back home. Now, that is all that done. And if you want to really master 0 point, then come to Bali. That's where we are doing the retreat in January. The link is in the bio. It's 23rd to 29th of Jan. All the support is there. People are giving their deposits in right now. Great. Some people are bringing their divine masculines. Fantastic. Don't, wait too long. Get your spot. There are payment plans. Everything's available for you. There's shamanic healing. Like I said, one session is like 10 years of therapy. Loads of different medicines we're doing. You get coaching with me before, during, and after. We're doing a tour of the whole island, essentially. You're getting loads of massages and food throughout the day. Everything's included apart from your flights. So why wouldn't you want to come to Bali? You know, why wouldn't you want to stop this childishness and the issues that you have and deal with them and face your shadow and go all in, you know, and say, I'm brave and I will be there with you. And January is an amazing time for twin flames. Loads of planets are lining up. And it's a time to bring unconditional love. It's time to embody it, actually, bring it from the higher realms into the physical. So instead of looping in the same patterns, why wouldn't you want to change that, you know? So if you want to be in that shared space with us, if you want to take accountability, you want to begin your life fully facing what you've been avoiding, then you should come to Bali, you know? We will go into detail of all these things. So now I'll probably open the space for any questions. I'm just double checking that I've basically gone through everything, and I think I have. And if I haven't, what can we do? It's all divinely orchestrated. So are there any questions? How are you doing? I haven't seen anything yet about how the eclipse has been treating you. I was going to say been whooping you. You have a cough and your stomach. Bless you, goddess. Alexandria. Yes, it's a very intense time, but it's purging. Okay, it's good for us, but it's difficult. I know, because all the stuff from the body is being released, and it's not like it's easy for us as it is. How is your twin flame relationship? Could you tell us something? My twin flame is good, very peaceful, balanced, ego completely destroyed. We love it. Humble, innocent, pure, good, very happy. Figuring out his finances, trying to become securely grounded enough to return. That's what's going on, which is great. Past life wounds, feel deeply calm, 0 point. Well done, Rocky. And Kendall's got past life wounds. Bless you. We're dealing with them. Mental hospital. Oh God, sometimes I feel like that. How can someone become psychic? Some people are born psychic. Sometimes your psychic wounds are activated. Psychic gifts are activated. It could be in your bloodline. As you do your inner work, as you get into union, your various gifts will come up. Not all of them are to do with psychic abilities, and not all of them are very obvious. It could be small things like your energy transmutes people's bad, negative juju. It could be anything. So don't be too fixated. Kendrill's traumatized me after sending me dreams when he was chasing me at me. I'm going to read it how you've written it, Kendall. Traumatized me after sending me dreams when he was chasing me at my around back in the Creek childhood home, told me welcome back, and I've been channeling Bonnie and Clyde. Okay, wonderful. The dreams are there to trigger you at times, to bring you into your alignment. They'll bring out fears, and sometimes the dreams are also beautiful places where you have romantic holidays with your twin flame. So just go with it and embrace it all. 1111 is truth. Okay, anything else? How are we doing? Hey, I think question wise maybe. Okay, how do you deal with grief, Nelson? I don't know if this is part of the twin flame journey, but I believe it's part of my Saturn return. How did you cope with your Saturn return? Oh, so Saturn return happens in like when you're 28 to like early 30s. It's a difficult time. It is a difficult time. Grief. So it could be grief to do with all sorts of things, not only with people passing away. It could be grief with, not getting what you think you wanted to get, the lifestyle, the person, the people, the money, I guess gratitude, so appreciation of your life right now, and not grief comes from a place where you are holding on expectation and you're still in your mind. You're expecting that it should have gone this way, this should have happened, that should have happened, and you're not seeing from a bigger picture. If someone's passed away, it's about understanding that life is eternal and that people live on. But if it's to do with jobs and money and situations, then it's about getting to that deeper wisdom. If it's meant for me, it will return. And if it's not, then let it go. So I had lots of issues with career and money and finances in my 20s and getting things sorted. And it was very challenging. Why? And then eventually it all clicked into place because things always work out. If You keep staying in that place of abundance and doing your inner work. So I guess that's how I deal with it. Can you record? It's always recorded. Wonderful. Anything else? Anything else? How is the eclipse treating you? I'm okay with or without. Have let go. Fantastic, Vanishika. Very good. We just release. What do you do if you have lower back pain? Oh, yeah, you have the body pains and the aches. You can get a massage. You can do physio. I mean, the lower back, isn't it to do with finances and abundance? Lack of. So you can do a lot of work on that. You can listen to like the music on that on YouTube. But lower back pain, strengthening exercises, lower core exercises. I hope you're working out. I hope you're taking care of yourself in that way. Put ice on it as well. Is this the glow of union? Yes. Well, as you ascend, you start glowing. Lots of dreams of the DM standing in a queue. Oh, maybe he's queuing up to meet you. Any update on your twin? Have you been in any contact? Have y'all been in contact? So I talk about my twin quite a lot usually, but I don't want to normally. These days, I'm trying to change that. Okay, so what? Okay, let's just my twin flame journey. Okay, I'm intense. I'm badass. I'm amazing. Okay, I do a lot of work, right? So, and I help a lot of people. So what happens, and I've talked about this before, a lot of coaches and twin flame people out there, our unions get delayed, unfortunately, because we're here to help the collective. And if I was in union, I'd be singing and dancing and not be online. I'll be with my twin and I'll be wherever. So the separation is elongated at times to be able to help the collective. We are here less so for our unions. I believe I've done the work, and I believe that I'm ready for it, but my twin is dragging his feet right now, which is fine. Because the thing is, the bigger the mountain that is done by the DF, the bigger the mountain the DM thinks they have to actually climb. When you don't, no one has to climb a mountain and do loads of work. You just have to get into 0 point, which sometimes requires you to do a lot of work. That's paradoxical. So basically, because I've done so much, he feels like he has to do a lot to catch me up, right? And he normally, my DM's quite a lazy person, I would say, and I'm not. We're very different in that way. I'm a workaholic. So he needs to get his stuff so he feels worthy of it. He sabotages perhaps as well, which a lot of them do. So yes, that's how it is. I'm not so concerned about union. I'm too busy. It'll happen if and when and how it's got to happen, and it's okay. And it doesn't matter, because sometimes you're going to be looking at me and saying, oh, he's talking about it. He should be in union, so I can trust him. But you don't need to trust me anyway, and you need to follow your own journey. A lot of the people I work with have had weaving, have had unions, have had all sorts of things, but they're not on social media. They're not as active, maybe. They're not as intense. The less intense you are, the easier it is to get into union. And intensity is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, because some of us all twin flames have purposes. Some of you will have local purposes, family purposes, and that's about it. Local shelter, local this and that, no problem. Absolutely wonderful. You've chosen it. You are a badass. It's all good. Some of us chose global purposes, global themes. Some of us chose to heal huge issues in society, big templates. And therefore we were packed with more energy, perhaps. The DF gets the bigger energy packet usually. The DMs usually are a little bit more grounded. So that takes more time. If you have a lot of things to achieve in life, then sometimes it takes longer, right? If you're doing more localized stuff and you don't have such a big job, it depends how big a job you took on or you were given. We have a big job, so it takes longer. I've only been on the journey nearly 3 years. It's not that long. Some people have been on it longer. Yeah, that's my journey. My journey shouldn't interest you at all. It's kind of boring. There you go. And I've had a really, what do you call it? Some of you have weaving. I've had none of the weaving. I've had like a proper separation for practically 3 years. And you'll be like, oh my God, but then how do you have so much faith and trust? You got to have that. Some of you need it every second of the day, don't you? You need a spoon of validation every second. I don't need that. I'm on another level. Right. I wish you all the best. And tomorrow's going to be the Jedi portal. Do your inner work. Get out of your childhood wounds. Love yourself. Stay in 0 point. And come to Bali. I'll see you there. I packed my suitcase today. How wonderful. Take care. Bye.